Hello, the AK. See, I haven't even asked you about your name, but Vincenzo. I saw Vincenzo. Is it right?
Vincenzo.
Vincenzo Milione.
Yeah. Yes.
Milione. Ah,
With
see,
that
see.
Italian stank behind it. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Can you please, first of all, thank you for your time today. I know you just woke up, so don't worry, I will not trick you in saying anything stupid, I hope. Um, can you please introduce yourself to the audience and say who you are, what you're doing, and maybe why you're doing it, and where you come from music wise?
Sure. Like we kind of said, I'm Vincenzo Milione. That's who I am, or my music sort of moniker, sort of the AK currently. That's sort of the project I'm doing. And essentially all that is I don't know. It's essentially meant to be a character, this sort of caricature of a person who is completely self-absorbed and self how would you say completely believing in themselves to a fault, no completely lacking self-doubt in this exploration
This
of
sounds like a little bit like the previous president you had over there. A little bit.
E-
Okay, so sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. We can talk about this later. So please introduce yourself. Sorry.
yes, and I mean, yeah, essentially just meant to kind of be like this mirror to society, and but also sonically it's meant to just be this heavy rock, rap, electronic sort of mixture of sounds that may sound like a lot to some people, but I think is sort of cool and different. But yeah, that's kind of the a quick cliff notes of that. If you were to expand on it, I had to admit, not admit, but this is sort of still a newish thing. I've been doing it for a few years, but I'm still getting my sea legs when it comes to music production and things like that. But I like the new EP that just came out back in March, Repeats Again. I am really proud of that, and I think it's showing some new, different sounds that I haven't really been hearing before. So, yeah, it's the AK right now, I
Okay,
think.
so I have a few questions. I told you, it's not like an interview, but of course I have a few questions I want to answer.
Mhm.
One is a really stupid question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway, because uh, how would you classify your music? Because you're quite genre bending, and I really like that, So, but still, do you have like a moniker for, or like, you know, I often use the genre fluid thing, and this is kind of,
Mhm.
you know, but for the people out there,
Yeah.
yeah, can you give a mix of things? Just calling it crossover is not really helping much, and yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's been something that's really hard for me to try to figure out. What label do I put onto the music? Um, I just been lazy and throwing the generic label of electronic. But I don't know. I mean, I like to joke, and it's like that it's a new wave, NU wave, or something along those
Oh,
lines. Like
that's a good one. That's a good one.
this, yeah, which is a joke in a sense, but
Hmm.
also I do like some of that new metal and some of that heavy metal is inspired things, and but of course love those classic new wave sounds and things like that, and trying to bring that together with hard rock and things like that is sort of a goal of mine.
Hmm.
But when it comes to the classifications, I'm just that's not my thing. I can't really figure it out to be to be honest.
Yeah, no, you know that I'm kind of a radio DJ as well. Not kind of, I'm a radio DJ as well.
Mhm.
So, um, for once, I hate these classifications because for me, music, I think we are kind of the same here, is whatever you want it to be. There shouldn't be a label on it. And one day you like to have a rap song, and one day you want to do something completely different, a country, whatever. Um, but as you know, there's a lot of music out there, and it for me it helps me quite a lot if I can categorize a little bit, because then I'm I don't usually like rap. You know, rap is not my thing. But I'm pretty sure, and I know, and you're one of the examples, that there is some rap music out there that I enjoy and that I would like. But the vast majority I wouldn't like. So that's why I keep them out. You know, so from my stream, what I get on music. Um, so yeah,
you, you wouldn't have maybe been introduced if you were looking, or if I was presenting myself as only rap, maybe I just would have flown under
yeah,
your radar.
exactly. Then I would have not found you, or you wouldn't have found me, because yeah, I'm kind of more niche. You know, I like
Hmm.
that's where you fit perfectly in my program because you are kind of nothing and everything. You know, you kind of it's hard to tackle you what you really are. That's why I ask you this silly question: what do you think it is? You know,
Hmm.
because if you would if you would be able to, nah, maybe not, but sometimes the people are quite boring who can tell you we do hard rock or this is death metal and nothing else and this is they have like how you blinders and stuff, they're just
Hmm.
like that. That's also boring. I mean, I like this music as well, but
Hmm.
on the other hand, I hate their not stupidity, but their kind of close-mindedness that music can be everything. Um,
Hmm.
so for me, it's a double-edged sword. For once, I like the freedom, but I also kind of need to narrow it down a little bit because there's too much out there of music. So
Oh, that's true for sure.
um,
I've noticed I've honing in who is actually looking for your sound is
mhm,
something that I've found is both difficult and rewarding. Just shooting out your feelers to like generic like rock blogs or rock people or people, in general, just people you're trying to show your music to. If it's someone who isn't kind of somewhat aligned to what you're doing, which I guess I would say if I'm looking for the word experimental. If someone likes something that's a little different and experimental, then there's a good chance they might like what I'm doing.
mhm,
If they don't like something along those lines, then I can just, like you said, like you can kind of turn away.
mhm,
Like they're probably not gonna really look at this, and if at least not that specific song,
mhm,
possibly. I hopefully am writing music that everyone could like in some form, maybe a little bit, but
mhm.
I can understand that at like you can hear some rap going on, and no matter what, you're like, no, no,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, no, I try to keep an open mind, but I, the thing is, you have only this amount of hours per day. You can do things, and then I don't know if you met on Submit Hub or so. I block a lot of people who I usually have like a free strike rule. You
Hmm.
are allowed to
Yes.
send me free songs, and if I still don't like it, then I block you. Not because I hate you so much, but it's kind of I would rather have my time spent on people which I like. There will be always the odd song I like from a band I would have never considered or something. But it's anyway. Sorry, we shouldn't talk about me. It's kind of just like I blocked like over I think like 500 artists on Submit Hub, so it's quite a lot. So because yeah, I have not so much time. That's my excuse here. To go through, like you said, we kind of matched because I'm also, electronic is kind of my thing, and experimental. Sometimes experimental can be, you know, a nice umbrella for people who
Yeah.
don't know anything and just give you. I mean, I can tell you, experimental can be really not good. Um, anyway.
Yes, that's sort of that's a very wide umbrella, and
Mhm.
it can include a lot of interesting music. Yeah, like you said, people who maybe
Nice,
don't
nice,
mix in
nicely said. Interesting. Yeah, that's a good one. I use this when I say no to them. It sounds interesting. It has would never have thought that this go for music. Anyway, we're talking about you, and so you kind of already segued into it, but I kind of changed it. You do a lot of collaborations. I found out, you know, so you're
Mhm.
collaborating a lot with people. So how do you find these people? You listen to their music and reach out to them, or how does it go for you?
Well, the most recent collaboration, Game Over, that was kind of just a happy accident of knowing the people who made that music, um, and them being inspired by somewhat similar things, where we kind of matched up. We're like in enjoying of electronic and like sort of prog rock, like your King Crimson
Hmm.
and things like that. Um, and that's kind of what that track sort of turned into. Like, how can I bring my weird view of music in my purview of how I like my sounds to be, and I just got to do that with people, luckily, who are actually within a city limit of me, not
Oh,
too far
that's
away.
cool. That's cool because
Yeah,
yeah, this is rare today. I mean, you know, I'm not
yeah,
want to talk about the pandemic. You know, it's going on and on and on.
it's
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's okay.
Which was
Uh,
yes, it was very lucky to be able to do this and safely still, but in person and be able to get this track out. But
hmm.
it was still a labor of love. It was still hard to do during a pandemic, but we did it. So.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, I forgot one question. I mean, you already talked about your kind of I call it stage persona, you know, this, but what
Hmm.
does the AK actually stand for? Or does it is it just a name for, you know, for
Hmm.
nothing?
No, it means something. It means Atlas Kant with a
Okay.
K, Kant. It's kind of it's a bunch of metaphors sort of thrown all into one name. Like Atlas, the Titan who holds up the world.
Atlas
That's kind of
Shrugged. I
yeah,
know
Atlas
this one, yeah.
Atlas
Hmm.
Shrugged as well.
Hmm.
The whole the libertarian sort of magnum opus. It's
Hmm.
also a kind of reference to that. And then Kant, Immanuel Kant, is sort of a German philosopher.
I heard of him. I'm German.
Heard of Kant? Um, but it is pretty much the music lyrically references a lot of sort of philosophical ideals, not in the sense that I'm trying to tell people how they should think or tell people what I believe is knowledge. It's more so it's meant to almost be satire. It's meant to almost be like an extreme oversimplification of
Hmm.
philosophies and ideas. Um, and that's what that person is. They're oversimplifying the entirety of life and human existence, and trying to make things easier or easier to understand than they really are. Um, and so that's kind of where the name comes from. This sort of mixture of feeling like the world's on your shoulders and this misinterpretation or oversimplification, rather, sorry, of the way life is,
Hmm.
and trying to simplify it to make it make sense.
Hmm. I see. Yeah. I mean, Kant is really hard to understand and to
Yeah.
read. You know, Kant's imperative. I will not pretend that I really, you know, well endowed to talk
Yeah.
about this. I heard of it and I think I grasped it a little bit, but not really. Okay, so
That's all I require from anyone. It's just to know
mhm,
of it, I guess. You don't need
mhm.
to be well versed in Kant's philosophy.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's okay, but okay, so um, that's actually an interesting. We could start here. But I have one other observation before we maybe get into this whole conversation because
Sure.
my problem with you was as you know I usually do in a way I want to go into such a talk without knowing too much so that I can really find out things. So you know it's fun for me too if I just go
Hmm.
through oh you did this and da, you know kind of when it's like an interview and I just put on things. But you I couldn't find out much about you. You know, there's not, you know, there's no
Hmm.
biography, there is no website, and I don't, you know, don't take it. It's it's an well-meant criticism, because it also, you can say it's cool because you make yourself a little bit hard to get, and invisible, not invincible, maybe also, but invisible. um, but but on the
Mysterious.
mysterious, exactly, this was the one I was looking for. But on the other hand, it's especially now that we're talking about what it all meant, what you're doing, it would be more interesting if there could be more out there. That's what I mean. Like you could have like a fake manifesto or something. It's now when I slowly get to know you, and you have a few things to say, and you satirize things, and so I guess it's to be found in your music, but you don't draw in people that much. At least, I couldn't find much of you information about it.
Hmm.
So,
I don't really present it. Yeah, and that is kind of a failure on my part. I think that mostly comes from just trying to get my. I fear that's too much information to try to convey to someone. I'm like, hopefully I can get them in just by the sound of the music, and
mhm,
if they're actually interested in all of the rest of this, then it's there in the lyrics. It's kind of the name's kind of known. I mean, like you said, it's actually hard to find, so maybe I should put some more effort to figure out at least what AK stands for.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it just comes with the difficulty of not wanting to overwhelm someone, or I don't know. You might turn people off if you're kind of doing this whole persona thing, but it and balancing also just having your own job outside of
mhm,
music and things like that. It can be almost draining to commit to like if I were to commit to almost a persona online or something like that, to have this whole, like, let's say, social media presence that
mhm,
was truly just the AK, like this, like you said, satirical sort of parody of a person. That would, I guess, for me, that'd be a lot of effort to do correctly, to really do justice to the music. And so it's go all or go home, and I kind of went home on that one. But
mhm.
that, and also truly there is sort of a part of a mysteriousness to it. I don't want too much known about me as like a person. I do want it to be more on the music
Mhm.
as a whole. So I don't know. It's a
Yeah,
mixture of being too small for it to, in my opinion, matter that much, but also, to be frank, a slight laziness.
and it's
A
fine.
bit of a lazy.
No, it's fine. I mean, we're talking, so this means at least I found you. So, and who knows what happens? Yeah, don't expect too much of this, because I'm a small niche person as well. So, um, anyway, but you are out there. You're just very mysterious, and there could be a little bit more. That's all I wanted to say. Um, because I think you don't have any thing on YouTube, right? There is no videos or something.
I do have one video that, if I one at one point had properly, sort of shared and everything. I've now since sort of started marketing other things, but that video never. It was just a music video for a track off my first EP, All
Hmm.
These Days. Um, that was something that kind of came together as, once again, another passion project. All this music in the music video, anything I do for music tends to be at night, like in the dark, alone, trying to uh, toil away at a passion project. And so sometimes corners are cut, or not even corners are cut. I don't know. I view as though maybe people aren't as interested in something, and I do understand that once something is dropped and time has passed, it just loses that sort of value it could have to someone. Not always, but it can. When you're a new artist, you kind of want to be kind of. I've noticed, when I can get the right time and get the most people, most eyes at one
Hmm.
moment, that's when you get the best sort of gestation, the best sort of reshare sort of situation. If you, it's really all about timing, and like sometimes people just post more than once,
Hmm.
that retweeting or reposting their material. And I guess I'm just, instead of continuously promoting this video that I made, I've kind of once again also put that on the wayside. And it all comes back to, I guess, honestly, the struggle of both during a pandemic and in general, having to also sustain yourself and
Hmm.
work full time, not having the economic privileges of some people to make music. Um, yeah, it. I honestly forgot what the point was right there. I just kind of rambled for a moment.
Yeah, no, no. I think I understand. You just, yeah, for me, it's like once again, it's like a double-edged sword. So, I understand you put out something, and then people lose interest, and then of course, I have as you know, I have a Spotify playlist, and I kind of have to keep it small. And exclusive to make
Mm-hmm.
a fake how you say a fake rareness of it, because
Mm-hmm.
it's if you think about it, it's kind of stupid what I'm doing. I have a playlist, and you can listen to all the music on Spotify wherever, whenever you want it. So my playlist is kind of insignificant for you as a listener, But I kind of keep you. I make it special because I only keep you for 14 days, and then are out again. And so there's an artificial rareness in it, which absolutely nothing, because the song is still there. It's just not in my playlist. So listen to it if you want. Make your own playlist, and so I guess what I'm hearing from you is you or at least you strike me like more the artistic type. You really you want it on the eyes on the music, but as we are living in the time we are living right now, you also kind of need to do some marketing and some promotion, and it doesn't, as much as I know you now, it doesn't come to you so easily, So I'm with you, don't retweet all the same stuff, but um, I, I kind of got into this by not really wanting to, but I had my radio show, so my radio boss said, "Oh, you need to talk about it." And I was, well, who need I to talk about? I just make my radio show and stuff. And then I started with the tweeting and retweet, and then you get. For me, it's a game. I want to
Mm-hmm.
see how much people I can reach and da 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 and stuff. So this is how I see it. So I hate on one thing to be an influencer or advertiser, because I don't feel like it. I only want to play the music I like, and I want to talk with people which in music I find interesting. So nobody tells me to talk with you. It's just me. Hey man, I want to talk with you. Well, so. Um, but yeah, then again, it's more beneficial if other people find you. So there is a benefit for me advertising it. Yeah. Anyway, so it's we're living in a. Let's kind of get to an end to this this thing.
A loop
We're
around.
living
Mm-hmm.
we're living in a good time. For artists and musicians, artists in general, because you don't need a label to put out your music. But the bad thing is everyone can do it. So there's a lot of music out there, like I said earlier, and so it's not easy to stand out from the avalanche. Especially, like we both, I like niche music and you do niche music. So it's not mainstream, easily digestible commercial things, um,
Mm-hmm.
and especially with your message, I think you can also turn off people sometimes, if they don't get it. That's why I ask for the website for some more explanation in it. But I also understand the mysteriousness. It's also fun, and I have to admit, I listened more to your music. I haven't went through the lyrics, so
Mm-hmm.
when I might be able to find more there. Um, anyway, so let's do this. It's kind of like I said, a double-edged sword. It's cool that you are free to do whatever you want to do, and people can find it, but you kind of have to help people to find you a bit. That's um,
Yeah, it's no longer are there people promoting a record for them. It is, or I mean that still exists, of course, but now, I don't know. I almost wish I could just have a record deal or something like that.
hmm
Even though at the end of the day, creative control and all that is much more important. Just for the mere fact of like record promotion, creating promos and just getting like getting my music onto your playlist, submitting to curators and
hmm
things like that is such a stressful thing and soul crushing. The amount of rejection someone has to go through for things like that can be a lot. It can be a lot, and it's almost easier just to sort of plop a track onto the internet and say it's done, and then hopefully the people who should hear it will hear it. But you're right. I do need to work and finesse a better sort of marketing sort of
hmm
shtick because you're right, because I have honed it in this time around. I've found sort of my subgenres like things like dark wave or
hmm
terms, synth wave, things like that, and those people, people in those groups are much more liking than when I was first starting. I was kind of aiming towards rap and
hmm
people who liked rap, and they were not liking my music. They were not a fan of my music as much, and so I'm like, okay, maybe you're not the ones. Tried hard rock, also not the ones. I,
Yeah, this is a very, almost like a death metal crowd. They're very yeah, it's not nice to bash a whole genre or something, but
oh,
yeah,
and
but they're usually not that open minded.
yeah, and so this time around for repeats again for the little bit of marketing and push I did, I was able to hone it in on who to aim it at, and I definitely think I got a much better response from that and much more useful feedback for
hmm
sure from people.
hmm Um, I don't want to talk about the pandemic and everything, but um, you seem to do music since a while already. So, did you ever do some live gigs with the AK or so? Was there some?
There's been a few live performances, but they have all been pretty small house shows. And in fact, there were a few. There was a show or two lined up in 2020. Very very rarely. I've had maybe three performances physically in person,
hmm
and that's more due to the issue of my music just not really working well from where I am physically in the world. In Las Vegas, my sound doesn't really click with the local music scene here, which there is. Everyone thinks of Las Vegas as this sort of, mecca of vice, but and it is that. I'm not going to pretend it's not. But also, it is a city with people, and there is a burgeoning sort of emo and heavy metal scene
hmm
going on right now. I don't know. I don't know if it's still going to be here after all this, but it was at the time back in late 2019, really sort of hitting a peak where house shows and genuine show venues and things like that were just a lot of local hard music was sort of coming through, and I was kind of trying to hop on that wave and succeeded a little bit, but when it comes to people more aligned to my disposition of like electronic influence and things like that, that's just a lot harder to find here, and so live shows were thus very hard to find.
hmm So, for me, because you said you wanted to kind of hop onto this, what, where are you coming from? I mean, what's the music you like? What inspired you to make the music you do?
A lot, a lot. I can't. I would have to say, I don't know. I mean, big influences are like Nine Inch Nails, Bjork, um, these are all big names. Smaller bands like Hexes. They're that's a more contemporary band. They're from I forget where in the South, but very industrial esque, but with weird guitars and I don't know, just anything along where lines are blurred in
Hmm.
genres and multiple things are being tried at the same time, and also that line between uh, like harsh sound and pop structure,
Hmm.
um, and creating something that is both aggressive and in your face, but being catchy and being not pleasant to the ear, but being a pleasant experience.
Hmm.
Because I love experimental noise music, but it can be sometimes
Yeah, I know.
grating. It can be very grating,
Hmm.
and that's I love music that finds that line between the crazy harshness of what experimental noise can be, but also honing in on maybe a groovy beat. Maybe there's a
Hmm.
nice melody there too, you know.
Hmm.
Um, I would, those are some influences right there. Some also like in the rap realm, like JPEG Mafia has also really inspired me. Him being also more contemporary to me. Um, Music like that, this sort of crazy explosion of ideas and an attempt and not being fake about it, not like posturing as being experimental and like I'm doing something different just to be different,
Hmm.
but because I'm doing something different because this is what I want to do.
Hmm.
This is it doesn't it's not because it's different, but it's just what I want to do, and I just notice I tend to gravitate towards music like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I'm definitely, I like, as you were talking, I was thinking of, this is kind of how I see industrial metal or sometimes even normal metal. When you listen to some of, I mean, not every metal, of course, but um, they have kind of very poppy themes, really catchy, but they just play it very hard. So it's kind of,
Yes.
especially, with industrial. So sometimes you have this, but there's like a pop beat underneath, and then really heavy guitars. So this is exactly what I like, and so that's why I can kind of see why I clicked with your sound because yeah, I think yeah, like you said, you don't take the moniker experimental just to be special, and I'm so whatever. You cannot put me into a box or something. Um, no. I have a question, and of course, you can say that you don't want to answer them, and then I'm. But why are you in Las Vegas? I think it sounds to me like you're not coming from there, and so.
No, I am. That's where I currently am, and that's where I've lived the majority of my life. I was born here,
Oh, okay.
um, and so that's just just my hometown. And I have to admit, and a lot of other locals can tell you, living here, it's kind of you kind of just kind of get stuck here.
Hmm.
It is a melting pot. We get a lot of people moving from different cities. Usually, a lot of people moving from LA or Chicago or New York, or just trying to move away from the larger areas and move to a quote unquote smaller city that's
Okay.
cheaper but still has the sort of infrastructure of like the West Coast and um how do I put it? This is a town that as someone who was as a kid, I grew up hating. And
Hmm.
most people can grow up hating the town they,
Okay.
that they live in. But I've come to, love Vegas for what it is. It's this weird modge podge of people and this weird place of almost like extreme freedom where you're allowed to do some
Hmm.
crazy things. But I find, I don't know, living in this town is something I don't want to do forever. And so currently Las Vegas is my home, but I'm trying to align myself maybe somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. I find there's a lot more people who vibe with my music
Hmm.
in that area. And when it comes to getting live performances, if there's more people who like your music, maybe you want to move over there.
Yeah, I talked with a lot of people from LA. As that's why I was a little bit surprised, as you said, that people from
Hmm.
LA move. But of course, this is you have thousand reasons to go from one place to another, and
Not as much as musicians, more so the general people moving away from big cities right now and things like that, and people who telecommute. When they don't need to have a physical home in LA anymore.
mhm.
LA homes are too expensive. It's insane compared to, let's say, a house to here in LA. You're paying 4, 5 times the price
I see. Okay,
for a very similar type of city.
okay, okay. So yeah,
Weird.
we can stop here. But so you're considering maybe going somewhere else.
Yeah,
Um, okay.
but I'm
Hmm? Sorry.
but I'm here for the time being.
Thank you. um, good. I have this. So let's.
Right.
I think I know what you're doing there.
Trying to be nice. My bad. My bad. Sorry,
No,
continue.
no, no
Try to
problem. No
very
problem. Uh, so yeah, maybe let's talk more about your message and the stage persona of the AK Atlas Kant. So uh, why? I said it already in the beginning. It really reminds me on Donald Trump. Let's give it a name, because he was kind of for me. I'm a European. I lived in the United States, so I have a little. I lived there, so
Mhm.
um, I don't know anything. But yeah, he was kind of so. I mean, I have to admit, I didn't see him coming. I was like, "Pfft, he never." But of course, Hillary and whatever, I didn't understood how the American public would think and stuff. Um, but for me, it's such a I don't know how to put it, in not so bad terms or something. But that this person ever could come to this position where he has been, and I don't get it. So
Mm.
in a
Yeah.
way, um, my question is more like, did the AK start? I mean, you started the AK before Donald Trump, or was it kind of what was the reason to persiflage, is that the right word?
Mhm.
Or to kind of parody this
Mhm.
kind of persona? So
Mhm. It, I mean, it's very funny. That's a very poignant observation. I never even thought of. I don't like to think of him, but I never thought of his
nobody
presidency.
wants to think of it. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe a few, but
Oh, you'd be surprised. Um, uh, the creation of this project happened in 2017. So Donald Trump was president at the time, and yeah, no, you're kind of blowing my mind with that observation. But it is kind of a very almost. It's almost a mirror to Donald Trump. It is this person who is self-obsessed and completely believes in their ability to do what they think they can do. And all the while, what actually is happening is someone who's really just being not only self destructive, but outwardly destructive and is hateful
mhm.
and is spiteful um, when they think they're being intelligent or. Um,
he has the best words. He said.
he has
So
the
so.
best words.
Mhm.
He has the most words.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, it totally, I totally see this now as you're sort of describing it, observing it it's a product of the environment,
Mhm.
you being having to see this sort of, I there's so many ways to describe this person. Seeing Donald Trump
Mhm.
be who he is, this sort of self-obsessed blind individual, just blinded by his own beliefs, by the idea of himself. He is so
Hmm.
obsessed with himself that he can't see past anything else. Um, that is definitely an inspiration for sure, and something I was sort of almost wanting to talk about. Not to say I'm like an expert
Hmm.
on the human condition and or anything like that, but just to that sort of idea of self-doubt and some people's lack thereof, to really delve into that sort of musically, um, wrapping it all in this sort of, I don't know, the sound of anxiety, the sound of confusion. There's a lot of, I use sound very explosively sometimes to really just get in your face, and
Hmm.
we definitely live in a time period where things are just sort of exploding. Things are just sort of happening, and not to say that, oh, it's such a horrible time right now. It's all, humanity's
It's
always been crazy.
exactly, it's the time we have, and in a
Yeah.
way we have in the best time we could have. I mean, not with a pandemic and all this, but uh, you know. Like what was his name? Warhol said, everyone has his 15 minutes of fame. Today, everyone has a loudspeaker and can be, internet persona or whatever. So it's cool, but it's bad because everyone can say something. And in the past, it seemed to me a little bit, but maybe I'm just looking too blue-eyed into the past, that we had more intelligent people saying something, and you would listen to them, and now we have all the people saying something, and you have to find out what is true, what is right, what is kind of, is it just for fun, or it's just trolling, or is it just this and that. And so it's cool, but it seems to me that the people of today, they have to be more intelligent or something, but
Mhm.
because it's tougher with all this. Um, it's tougher to determine what's right or wrong, and
With all
also
this noise, there's so
yeah,
much noise.
exactly, through all this noise. So it's I can clearly see why people will go to someone like Donald Trump, because he gives easy answers to hard questions, and it's not as you and I know, it's not always black and white. There's always a gray area, and there's this and that, and you have to consider, so I can understand. I'm a German. I know people can fall for a strong leader. It has some. I'm not comparing anyone with anyone, but um,
Mhm.
he had this. I get this certain appeal, but I was really shocked as I heard back in the news back then that he was like. Um, that he was a president. I was like, what happened here? But I was also shocked, that the British people left the EU, because I could not foresee
Oh yeah.
that. I thought like, whoa. Anyway, what as you were explaining, I was thinking about,
And they have their Donald Trump with Boris Johnson and all that.
yeah, yeah, he's a weird clown as well. I mean, they could be
Yes.
brothers even. Um, um,
Look
what I wanted to say was, in a way, and I have to phrase it nicely, so because it can be seen as a criticism, but I think you get my point. In a way, I see like you should have made two different projects here, because you using this over, no, not saturated, but this overly confident person for what you're doing, for this stage persona. And in a way, I thought it would be better if you would have put in just some more mainstream music, easy to digest, kind of that you make poppy music in a way,
Mhm.
to draw in people, and then kind of show them the truth, revealing things. Yeah, So this could be like a really artistic shtick to do it, and but you choose some very, and I get, the musical freedom. You choose harder to digest music with it. you get my point. There could be a distinction between this persona and then the more artistic freedom persona. So because I like the idea you created here, that you kind of
Hmm.
hold a mirror to the people and see, you're falling for this. If you take if you talk about philosophical things, Nietzsche is what comes to
Of
mind for
course.
me. Nietzsche is, as I started to read Nietzsche, I thought, what is this? Because he's saying this. And I was like, yes, 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 this is right. And then in the next sentence, he said exactly the opposite. And I was like,
That's
what's going on?
hmm?
And all what he wanted to do, at least that's how I see it, wanted to let the people think for themselves, to kind of question everything.
Hmm.
So this is how I understand Nietzsche, and so in a way, I could have. Um, from what I gathered, what you told me with his persona, it would have been easier for you to reach an audience and get them, draw them in and then show
Hmm.
them something. So it's kind of you're making it harder for you, but of course I get your musical freedom, and I'm not
Hmm.
disputing this at all. I This is the cool thing. Freedom, music is whatever you want to be it. There's no right or wrong. It's just you like it or you don't like it. That's all that matters.
Hmm.
But I hope you get my point. With your
I totally.
message.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, I totally understand. I guess on that front, I lean away from showing the other side, from showing the other side of the coin. Maybe just because I'm afraid of. It's almost easier to put on the front
Hmm.
at the end of the day. Remove that front, strip it away. I don't really know how to present myself just yet.
I see.
I don't
Oh,
know how to. I
okay.
don't know how to present. I mean, at least thinking about it now, like yeah, I've never really even thought of showing that other side. I've always, which is probably a good idea in the grand scheme, maybe allowing a little more of a light, a little more genuine, more of just a this is what it is instead of requiring everyone to do some mental gymnastics
Hmm.
to figure things out. But yeah, I think it's just my love and just I tend to lean towards these sort of louder, harsher sounds, and I could go for this sort of softer, more genuine thing, but I kind of don't know how to do that right now.
Hmm.
At least as
Hmm.
a person, as a human being, like you said, it's all about that musical freedom, that creativity. When I go to sit down, I'll try to, maybe make not like a ballad, but something a little more your everyday, something that's a little more digestible, and I just find I'm not as interested.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm fine that I can't. I'm not enjoying what I'm putting on into the DAW or into my guitar.
Exactly, and this I completely get. So I see this is just and you to touch on another nice point there, which I wasn't aware. I mean, I'm not going to ask you how old you are, but you seem a little bit younger, and you have a point that's maybe we can talk about it because this is uh, something that other people might have trouble as well or struggle with as well because the need kind of for a stage persona because what I know, I talk with a lot of artists is um, putting out your music and putting yourself behind it, and going on stage and letting it out makes you very vulnerable. It makes you really I see it like a normal musician pours his heart into the music, he or she does, and so it's honest, and this makes it so good because it's not just like what I just said earlier, a pop template. It's like this beat and four and whatever, and so in a way this makes the song stronger because it's really the heart blood, like we said in German, Herzblut, heart blood of a musician. But it also makes you, it opens your heart, and people can stab at it. And this is very, very dangerous and and frightening, of course, So
Hmm. Hmm.
um,
I
eh,
understand that. To sorry to interrupt. I just to chime in.
yeah, no,
Totally
go.
get that because, like you said, you open up your heart,
Hmm.
to people when you're showing. At least for me, when I'm trying to do these sort of softer tones, these sort of more intimate sounds, which there's a little bit of that on this new record on the EP. But and more, there's a little bit more than I've ever done on the new EP. But it's still, I would agree, a very much more abrasive, not nowhere near a more mainstream along
Hmm.
in any sense of the word. But maybe it is a vulnerability. Maybe it is a fear of vulnerability.
Hmm.
And I really don't know. To me, I just viewed it as a lack of interest. But you pointing out, you describing that, I can probably see myself maybe just also being afraid. maybe
Hmm.
maybe like I don't. It's easier to for someone not to like my hard music because well, it's hard.
Hmm.
They just can't take the noise. That's fine. Get out of the kitchen.
Hmm.
But if it's something soft, it's something much more intimate, and then they still don't like it. That's a much worse shot in the gut for some reason.
Yes,
Um,
exactly. This is what yeah, and which resonated with me as you said with that you are not ready with having yourself on stage. That you kind of have a stage persona, and I don't take this as a criticism. This is not. I
mm,
understand it because a lot of people shield themselves. This is the reason why I'm talking with people because I talk with industrial metal bands and they are we are really men and they have face paint and all this
mhm,
stuff.
mhm,
And then you talk with them and they're just normal people. They have a day job as well, and they have kids and whatever. And I get it. It's a it in a way it shields like I told you earlier. That I couldn't find out much about you. That's also
mhm,
good because when people cannot hate on you easily or cannot you know. Overwhelm you with stupid stuff, or you put out something and you get hammered for whatever a stupid comment or something. Um,
mhm.
so yeah, I. It seems like we all only have double-edged swords today because I see it as a
Yeah.
double-edged sword as well because for once you want to be true and honest with your music and you are you know um, but also you don't want to be you don't want to get hurt so easily. So I have no real conclusion to this or a solution. Um, but just it just resonated to me as you said you don't really know how you would present it otherwise if you wouldn't have had this persona. Um,
Mhm.
and for me the whole starting point was the disparity, is it the right word? The
Mhm.
strangeness between the the really kind of experimental music like we talked about
Mhm.
and the
Yes.
kind of mainstream persona you put I mean the stripped of all fears and like a
Mhm.
chest pounding persona you put up there. So anyway, yeah, so sorry for that. we
No,
got a
no, no.
we got a little bit sidetracked, but I
That's
told
fine.
you this is exactly what I like. As I want to get to know you, but I also think, of course, of it. And like I said, I'm a big Nietzsche fan, and I
Mhm.
always. I think I learn something too when I get to know new people, and I guess you can agree. It's hard to disagree with that.
Mhm.
um,
Yes.
Okay, so because we are nearing the hour mark, and I'm usually going for an hour and a little bit longer. I don't know how
Mhm.
your time is. Um, so, what can we as listeners and people who want to get to know VAK expect from you in the future? So, what's in store for us?
What's in store? That not honestly, not much is down the pipe right now. I
Don't.
I know that EP that my repeats again came out back February 19th.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to show that to people, get that down people's eyes. You mentioned Game Over,
Hmm.
um, project I'm doing with my friends Jesse and Adrian. We're actually recording a music video today and tomorrow for that
Cool.
track. So we're trying to get that wrapped up and together. I think the goal is late April, early May, but we'll see how that comes out. There's no solid dates on that yet. But other than that, it's really I don't know. I'm starting new musical projects with some friends where hopefully, I'm used to working as a solo musician. My music is completely 100% me, produced, recorded, all that. Um, and so I'm currently trying to become more collaborative,
Hmm.
and possibly there might be more ventures down the line. But no, I mean, right now it is a it is a new time. It is a time where things are all the wheels just started turning again. And
Hmm.
so it's going to be a minute before anything else is ready to go to present. But yeah, I guess that's everything all lined up right now.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah. As you said, you're also completely self-produced. I'm just putting this up. So who does your cover artwork? Is it also you?
The cover art, that was actually a artist I found through the internet. She is based in Seattle. I think technically the connection was made because I have some friends who went to the same university she did,
Hmm.
Cornish art school up there. Um, but essentially, her name, oh, I forgot to pronounce her last name. I feel so bad. Ellie, I forget her. It's a Polish name. Ellie, Polish name. I cannot. I feel bad. She is sort of like a visual collage artist and works with visual mediums and also digital mediums. And I sort of came to her. She has provided me with some weird digital sort of experimentation stuff, and she provided me with something similar to what this cover was, and I just kind of had her adjusted to make it more of a almost more of a cyclical sort
Yeah,
of
it's a circle,
doing.
no? Oh. Hmm.
Yes, and there was a lot of metaphor in loops, in being stuck in a cycle, and this character is stuck in this cycle of aiming to self-fulfill. That is constantly really what he's doing is this goal of self-fulfillment, and it's really just a vicious self-fulfilling prophecy.
Hmm.
Just uh, he expects the world to fail him. He expects people to doubt him, and thus people will fail and doubt him.
Okay,
and
yeah,
and,
it's
and
a
all
self-fulfilling prophecy. I see. Yeah,
and
it's sorry. Go.
no, no,
Yeah,
that's
okay. No, this is something this is like more a philosophical theme, of course, but this is kind of what I also discovered for myself. If you have bad thoughts and if you think of people will always do something bad, then of course you will always find something like this because you prime
yeah.
yourself to look for that. So you know I'm a little bit older and I have had some bad experience, but I'm still very positive with the world.
Mhm.
And this is one of the reasons I like to talk with people because I get to know you, and who knows whatever happens, because you mentioned L.A. I talked with a band from L.A. And now we went on a tour, on a virtual tour, of course. So I submitted some music there, for them on tour.
Mhm.
So you never know collaborations, and people might find you through this. They might check out your music. And my point is, um, I I don't expect much, but I'm just I'm happy for the opportunities I get granted, and
Mhm.
if you have a mindset of things, oh, this could happen, and when things can happen, if you always kind of close your mind and oh, this is and it's scary to go outside or whatever, I mean, not with the pandemic and whatever,
Well,
but
I mean, it's.
Yeah, it's a bad example, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean, I guess. You know,
Hmm.
um, like you know, reaching out to people and just saying something and putting out the music, and so people can find you. You know, this is already a big step. You know, it's and my point is you seem to have the right mindset so that things can happen, because sometimes people you know just sit at home and don't do anything and think something will come to them magically, you know. If you wouldn't have put out yourself at least a little bit, I wouldn't have found you, and we wouldn't have talked, and who
Hmm.
knows what's going to happen now. I mean, don't overestimate my little podcast here, but
Oh, I'm gonna make it big after this interview. No,
I wish, you know, it will become big, and one day the AK will say, back then, I talked to this German dude, and you know, when I blew up, and I had two followers instead of one. I don't know. What? Sorry, that was just joking. You know, I don't. Uh, yeah, you know, this is also. I mean, we could make a whole talk about what success actually means, because I think we are both in the same category. You already did something, so you are successful because you put it out. You got it to an end point, you know. And especially as a solo artist, as you know, I talk with a lot of solo artists. Sometimes the hardest thing for them is to finish a song, because as
oh
you
yeah,
are alone, you never know when a thing is finished, you know. I mean, maybe
yeah.
that's the last question. Let's talk about this, because this might be
Hmm.
beneficial for other people. How do you get to the point that you know, from my perspective, a song is always a snapshot, frozen in time. This is just,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, that's it. And but you need to move on, because you can always tweak something. You can always, you know. So what's the process of a AK
Yeah.
to finish a song?
I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. You'd never finish a song.
Yeah.
A song's never really done. And all my music that like for this most recent record, I would consider it partially unfinished. There's a lot of things I would have liked to have done or changed, but being someone who is for the most part just like on my own, I did have someone help with the mix master, but that's just mixing and mastering. There's still the whole song,
Hmm.
and to yeah, to have no one there to say like this is good, this is not good. You're just left to have to put things down, come back, put things
Hmm.
down, come back. Because if you were to, I've definitely had issues where I just sat at a track for 4, 5 hours trying to figure something out. I've working on like why can't I get this transition? I can't get this transition to sound good, and probably be very beneficial to have someone there. But usually, it's the most beneficial thing to just walk away, come back. You'll probably like it more. You'll probably be less annoyed with it than
Hmm.
you are in the moment. And and if you aren't, you at least are more likely to get the idea that helps you move on. But yeah, when it comes to what's finished, I get to a point where I don't think I can really I get to the point where I feel like I'm no longer creating something, but I'm just tacking things on. Like it's no longer,
Okay,
it
it's
is
not.
no longer.
It doesn't benefit the song anymore. It's just like kind of, oh, this could sound good, or you know, because this is another thing. See, I asked you in the beginning. You haven't really answered my question, but that's fine. Where
Mhm.
you come from, music-wise, you know, what kind of instruments you play and stuff. Because
Oh, I'm sorry.
because
That's
one
what.
of it doesn't matter. You know, it's not. It's I could have asked again, but anyway. Um, my point is, you know, a really good song, you know, works if you make it acoustically, you know, just with your six string on the campfire or something, or with an whole orchestra. You know, if the song structure is good, it will work either way. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
so it has this. You know, I don't know how really to put it, but it there is something between the notes that makes it shine. You know, it's so there's a meta um, stage in it. So if you reach this, then you know this works regardless of
Mhm.
how you produce it. You know, I mean, better production usually is better, but sometimes it's over polished and too. Um, too much on it, so this
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
can also not be benefit. Anyway, I think you got my point.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and so I think I got your point as well, because once you realize the bones are where, and the meat also, then it's just like cosmetic extras,
Yeah.
and kind of this might even distract from the song if you put in too much, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
echo or whatever. And so you know sometimes minimalism is better, and I like also minimalistic stuff. But anyway, music is kind of, you can run in every direction, and it's fine. It's
Yes. I
uh,
mean, I guess to just maybe finish up the point of
mhm,
how I finish a song, I've come to the realization that I just have a fun habit of wanting to layer and overcomplicate.
mhm,
I want to create this sort of vast ocean of sound,
mhm,
which to me it's, how do I put it? I find it, I can find it impressive in those situations because you can see every moving part,
mhm.
but to the normal viewer, to the normal listener, it's just an ocean of noise. It is just this almost overwhelming at times, sort of
That's that's
too
that's a
many parts
that's a
going
good
on.
point you just did there, because sometimes for me it is. Uh, Sometimes musicians tend to make music for other musicians to kind of show off. Look what I can do, and look, and now I changed the tempo, and when it fits in there, then it's impressive, and it's not a bad song. Like um, uh, gent music sometimes, or other
Hmm.
progressive rock or whatever. But they forget the listener, and the listener doesn't want to. Sometimes you just want to dance, and then you change the tempo again, and so. Um, I remember when I was, back then, as you could go to concerts, uh,
Hmm.
there is this
Way
fallacy
back.
that you way back then. Back then there was a different time, my young one. I can tell you a
And
story.
even now.
We had horse carriages and stuff. Uh, no, no, no. The point I wanted to make, and I think you have seen this as well. Sometimes you have musicians coming to concerts, and then we sit, or we stand there in the corner, and like, oh, he missed a note. He missed a beat. So they don't enjoy the music. They kind of dissect the music and don't get the point of it. This is what I
Hmm.
meant. Um, it's, of course, you need to be able to play good enough to make it good and stuff. And there's the performance, whatever. But the point is, the music is the thing, and not showing off things, and oh, he has the greatest solo. Oh, he cannot play guitar, but he got the. I think I'm preaching to the
I
choir.
totally
I think you know exactly what I mean. So, but I find it funny sometimes that musicians have to be careful to not fall into this trap. To go, oh no, this is so easy. This is just three chords. Oh, this is not a good song. No, it's a good song.
yes.
It's actually especially a good song because it has only three chords, because it can make so much with three chords, and you
Hmm.
don't have to show off that you can do, I don't know, the pentatonic scales and stuff.
Doing a 12 tone scale, or something like that.
Exactly.
But I know I totally understand. There's something to the essence,
Hmm.
of music,
Exactly.
and trying to convey that, and trying to do that without, I don't know, posture is like, but this is complicated. I'm a musician doing
Hmm.
something
Hmm.
that you can't do, and which is funny because I think the reason music is so powerful is because it's simple.
Hmm.
Humans are kind of simple beings, really. At the end of the day, we're just kind of, we're big monkeys with thumbs, and like the power of just a beat, of just a 4/4
Hmm.
kick,
Hmm.
is so strong, and the power of simple melodies can just really take hold over a person. And I find that when music can get too complicated for complication's sake,
Hmm.
you just tend to lose people, me
Exactly.
included. Like and I'm not shitting on like genres like prog or math rock.
Hmm.
Like there's definitely music in there that I really enjoy, but you never know what like we're taught, like you just said, like the overcomplication. Like let me just roll up and down this guitar, or let me just do this crazy drum fill for for 30 seconds,
Hmm. Hmm.
or just this asynchronous time signature for the whole track. 1 2 3 1 2 3
Hmm.
1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. Some weird,
Hmm.
some like those things. There's a place for that, and I definitely think that music should exist.
Hmm.
But
No,
it's
yes.
the music that calls to me personally, not as much. No, I can't. I can't. I have to admit, and I
Hmm.
totally, definitely do see some people in those genres where I straight up, I just don't see it. I don't understand. And not, once again, I love all music, and even then, I'll appreciate the just the pure raw form. Like, I'm impressed by a lot of the musicians, just their ability to create these crazy songs. But yeah, I know that's not for me, and I strive to find that perfect line of sounding different, sounding uh making you think about the music, making you wonder
Hmm.
what's going on, but also it to kind of stick in the head, for it to kind of stay there, for it to be like a earwig that
Hmm.
doesn't leave,
Hmm.
that perfect in between.
And this, okay, maybe this is a good ending point because I think now you described it quite well, your music, because it's not easy to digest, but it's not so hard. It's not, if you give it a chance, it kind of like earwig is maybe in German we call it an earworm. You have an
Mm.
earworm with something you cannot get out of your head, and you know, and so what got stuck in your head in a good way. I mean, sometimes you hate it, you need to get it out, but yeah, exactly. So it's not so easy to digest. So but it's also not so tough that that's impossible to get. Um, I've as I see it, you need a little to get over a little hump to really appreciate your music. But once you get there, you really it's kind of a new universe there because when you see the beat and it kind of moves you. I mean, this is the reason why we're talking, because I liked your music and I liked the way you did it, and you did it in a fresh way, not um, as you know, I'm a radio DJ, so I hear a lot of music, and sometimes I like that, after 30 seconds I can say exactly where the song is going to, and but sometimes I'm quite too bored to have the 100th metal core thing where I know
Hmm.
exactly what's going on and what will come at this moment. So I think this is what draw me to you, but you kind of have this not so easy approach, but once you got over the hump, it's rare, and it's not so tough. But I'm starting to dance in one direction when I have to So my point is, with so many words, I want to say I really like your music and I really like what you're doing. So to conclude our talk, please keep on doing it. And as you just mentioned, you're doing for one of the projects a video. Please let me know. Let's send me the video. I like videos. I just started a little video list on my YouTube channel, so I can put it if I like it. I will
If you
put it.
like
I
if
will
you
put
like
it
it.
up there, because yeah. See, this is the cool stuff for me. I only talk with people I like, and I only play the music I like. So nobody pays me for that, and that's really cool, and that's freedom as well for me. Um, and I only started it a little bit, maybe like you. I'm not completely sure if I did use this right, because I couldn't find the music in a way like I wanted it to present it, and I like
Mhm.
different kinds of music. That's my playlist is all over the place. You have a ballad, you have a harsh song, because I hated to just have one kind of music. And so,
Yeah.
and this is, yeah, is what I kind of deduced from you. It's kind of, music is fun. Let's do whatever you feel like doing it. And this is exactly how you should do it. And this is the good thing for you, because you have this freedom, uh, even though it comes with the other thing, like you said earlier, that you don't have a label who does all the promotional stuff for you. It has its benefit and it has its downside. But I I can do my little part here. So whenever you have something out, please hit me up. You know where I am now in the
Will do.
interwebs, and so I
Hope
can
I don't
put.
get blocked.
Pardon me.
Hope I don't get blocked. I hope I don't annoy you, but here's the mic.
Let's see. I see you listen. No, 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 no. This will not. Let's see. No, this will not happen. It's just you know. But honestly, I hope you got my point. I don't do it because I hate this person. It's just like I could have listened to three other songs
Oh,
while I gave attention to one where I'm most likely to 99% will not like it. So
mhm.
it's just kind of to put my time resources in a in
I
I
mean,
I
make no
value my
decision.
time.
Yeah, I'm not listening to Garth Brooks.
Hmm.
If I got Garth Brooks's album in the mail, I would probably just put it directly in the trash. I'm
Hmm.
going to be quite honest. There are a few things you just know that just aren't going to
Hmm.
click.
Yeah,
Just won't.
exactly.
No,
Okay.
thank you. I appreciate you having me, and yeah, just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the kind words and the endorsement of the music.
You're very welcome. Honestly, like I said, I wouldn't have talked with you if I wouldn't have liked your music. Okay, thank you very much, and have a great morning, and I will have dinner
You have a
soon.
great night.
Thank you.